Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in beautiful, gorgeous Paris at a magnificent hotel, by the way. If you come and stop in Paris, this is a place to come because they have an amazing pool. It's called Hotel Molitor. It's a Sofitel. And I'm here to have a conversation about love, sex, and awakening. I know you love these conversations. I'm here with Margot, that you probably know of because she is the goddess of Tantra. Let me tell you, she spent time with Osho, and she is absolutely adorable. We did this interview in French because her new book, À la rencontre de l'orgasme divin, just came out. And so I couldn't not interview you in English and do this because your book just came out. Love, Sex, and Awakening just came out in the US.
Yeah, it actually gave me a hard time because it came out at the same time. So they both, I had to launch the book on 2 continents at once. So I did a little bit in America, but now I'm doing the most of it in Paris. And then I'm going back for March and April in the US. March is for book signing and book conferences, and April is for teaching at SLN Institute in Big Sur, which is a place I love.
Can't wait to go there. I've had the chance to interview, and the opportunity to interview many teachers from there, but never go to this place. I heard it's amazing.
Well, you're invited. Yeah, I'm going to be teaching there starting April 11th with a very, very sexy guy. You can find the program on my website, wmargotanand.com. And his name is Jim Benson, and he specializes in groups for men.
That's a very important topic too. So tell us how you discovered, how you came to the point, because I know you spent some time with Osho, and there he really told you, okay, it's your time to teach all this. How did this...
didn't start with Osho, and I don't want to be catalogued as just, a follower of any spiritual master. I was that for a while, and I'm a big believer in the importance of having a spiritual teacher. But for me, the initiations happened in a natural way without any spiritual master. And I say that is why I wanted to give the title of my book, Love, Sex, and Awakening, : Finding God in Bed.
Yes.
Yeah, such a great title, no? And it's actually what happened in chapter 1. I found God in bed.
And Richard.
Yeah. And yeah, but it was the cosmic experience that followed, the lovemaking. Anyway, the publishers didn't want it. So they had a complicated title, which doesn't make any sense. But Love, Sex, and Awakening is a good title. So now in chapter 1, I'm 17 and a half. I'm a virgin. I'm in love. We finally make love. And I'm excited. And then at the final moment of orgasm, I climb out of my body, or rather I flow out of my body, and I become pure light. And when you become pure light, it's a cosmic experience because you're free of matter, you're free of the third dimension, you're free of education, parents, language, country, and you just are everywhere. And so I knew I was that before I was born, that I would be that after I left the body, and that was my initiation into what I found out later is called Tantra.
Yes. This sense of unity that we're so longing for, is that the only place where we can find it at orgasm? We're all really loving and longing for orgasm, for this unity with God. Huh?
Yeah, but orgasm is something that doesn't just happen in our sexuality. Yeah. When you look, you sneeze, you have an orgasm. You laugh, you have an orgasm. Your belly shakes, your body shakes. In fact, I talk about a chapter in my book called The Cosmic Joke, where I received the transmission of laughter. Because I was there with a broken heart. I had just divorced and I was inconsolable. And I became, I received a transmission of laughter from Osho, who touched my third eye, and I started to laugh like crazy. And then the same laughter came back every night at the same time, no matter what I was doing, in the restaurant, writing a letter, walking down the street. Ha, 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 the laughter came back. I had laughing tissues in my bag. And after a month of laughing uncontrollably for no reason, you lose your sense of self-importance. You don't have any more self-pity about yourself. Life is a lila. Life is a joke. And you see
a big joke. There's a big cosmic joke, no?
Yeah, exactly. The lila of the Hindu gods. Life is a play. It's a fun. So you start to see that more. That was a gift he gave me, a healing gift, So
I guess you laugh when you have an orgasm too.
Sometimes, but I would say, that I have an exercise in one of my books called the laughing pelvis. So I play a really, really fun joke. Everybody's standing, they bend a little bit their knees, and then when they start to laugh, I say, bring the laughter down to your pelvis. Bring the laughter down to your legs. And now they start to shake the pelvis and shake and ha, 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 and they laugh. And then I say, the sex itself doesn't laugh enough. Give some laughter to your sex. Don't take your sexuality so seriously. That's a good exercise, I think.
It is an excellent exercise. Is there other things that you explain in your book regarding the more practical aspect of opening up to this, I guess, to this divine connection? Because that's what we're all longing here, especially all the co-creators watching these videos. We're into those experiences of meditation, of yoga, of connecting to the divine. How can we do this more of?
Well, it depends who you are and it depends how old you are. Because recently I was teaching a group in Hawaii with Robert Silber. And I had the millennial generation there. And there were people between 20 and 30, 20 and 35. These people were quite free. They were ready to explore everything. They were fun. They were, it was like I had the feeling they had already all done the exercise that I talk about my previous books. And I was in wonderment, of the new generation, how much more free they are. And then I went to teach another group at the Blue Spirit Retreat, which is a branch of Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. And there, it's a higher up-end kind of place, costs a lot more money. And so we had the baby boomers there. And the baby boomers were into love, into, something stable, something safe, security and continuity. Luckily, I was teaching with Esther Perel, who wrote the book Mating in Captivity. And Esther makes a great distinction, which I agree to, that love, exactly this, requires continuity, requires security, and that eroticism is just in the opposite, needing the unknown, needing the risky aspect, needing the surprise. And so, I had the chance to teach both generations. And so to answer, your question, sexuality and tantra can be very different depending on how old you are, right. And how you look at it.
Yes.
So in my practical approach to it, as you were asking, I ask myself, I reveal in this book all the outrageous initiations and adventures that I went through to walk the path of tantra as the first Westerner who brought it to the West.
The trial and errors.
Trial and errors. And outrageous experiences, cosmic experiences, but they were all for the purpose of giving me the appetite to, as a psychologist, want to create methods that made it accessible to Western people. And so as a psychologist, I took Western tools, Gestalt, massage, bioenergetics, you name it, to make this opening itself to the Western person. Yeah.
So there's no tipping point. There's not a one point where you found out throughout all these years of teaching where there's something that all of a sudden opens up. Like there is this either a mental construction, a psychology, leaving the past in the past, or just experiencing. Is there at any point of entry that really starts to opening, and there is another experience?
Yeah. So the first is you start where you are. So you relax. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a partner. You don't have to solve all your problems. You come as you are. This is a good thing. And you can do this on your own. So it's called Sky Dancing Tantra. You can find it all over the web. There is an institute in California, and it's easy. The first, you have to heal your sexuality. If you had traumas, you have to clean your basement. You have to, take away the unfeeling, the numb part of your sexuality or of your psyche regarding your sexuality. Then the second step is you are multi-orgasmic. And I can prove it to you. I can give you a method where you will explore your multi-orgasmic potential.
Bring it on.
Yeah. So that's the second, and I describe that in great detail in my current book, Love, Sex, and Awakening. This third step is the tipping point. The third step is a wonderful exchange where you work with a partner. It can be someone you find in the group, doesn't have to be your life partner. You inhale, you practice sexual breathing. You inhale the energy through your sex from your partner. You are sitting opposite each other. You're not necessarily making love, but you visualize, you imagine that you take the energy from your partner's sex into your sex. You inhale it up your chakra or energy centers. You exhale it to your partner, who inhales it, your breath. He inhales your breath into his breath, brings it down his central channel into his sex, passes it to you. While you inhale it, he exhales it. You create a loop. You create a loop of energy. And then you come and you sit in Yabyum, woman over the lap of the man, and you are giving a kiss mouth to mouth, and you start to circulate your sexual excitement through this loop. Let me tell you, that is sky dancing. Okay? That is when you disappear as a man and a woman. You disappear as an ego. You disappear as I want, I don't want, I like, I don't like. And you are basically pure energy dancing with pure consciousness. It's a marriage between energy and consciousness.
Marriage of the yin-yang too, that you're describing a lot, between the action and the just letting go and being free.
Yes. It's a marriage between your inner man and your inner woman, between your receptive, playful side and your active, emissive side. Marriage can happen within you. That's called the androgen connection, where you don't need an outer partner. Or it can happen with two partners. Whether they are same sex or opposite sex, it doesn't matter, it works. And it is definitely a balance between the yin and the yang, like you say.
Is that what we're called to all do right now? I mean, beyond just the tantra way of living, to reconnect and to re-equilibrate and balance our yin and yang? Because a lot of women have become very masculine, with our independence and all that, and some men have become very feminine. So isn't there? It's a lot of work right there that we're called to do now.
Yeah. True. But I think that it's happening. I think men are more and more doing men's groups and finding their own power within same gender. And the women are doing women's group. I just heard that there was a woman with 2,000 participants in New York a few weeks ago who wrote a book called The Pussy. Yes. Yeah, and so I thought, how great, And so these are all things that are repackaged and revisited that I did a long time ago, where in my groups we have a woman's group, and the woman gives a voice to her yoni, gives a noble name to her yoni. Yoni has a voice, and yoni talks and tells her story. Yeah? The story of her life. How is it to live with Margot? She would say, well, it's not so much fun. She's all the time writing a book. She keeps me under the table. She doesn't give me enough attention. That would be what she would say today. Today. She wasn't always saying that. There were other times where I would wake up in the morning, I would touch her, and I would ask her, dear one, what do you want today? And she'd say, I want a visit. I'd make sure that she got a visit. And this is my advice to women today. Listen to your yoni, because she's the door to your power. And when you give her what she needs and what she wants, you will open the door to your self-esteem, to your trust in yourself, to your power of seduction, your power of manifestation. And all of this begins here. Yeah. So
how do you deal with the crazy thoughts that she might liberate? I mean, it'd be scary to hear what she has to say.
How can it be scary to hear what one part of your body has to say to another? I mean, the body has a consciousness of its own, okay? But your sex is like your nose or your fingers or anything, except that it has been loaded over centuries with so much taboo and ridiculous thoughts. I mean, when you think of it, the whole metaphor of Eve's eating the apple, offering the apple to Adam, and then those guys being thrown out of paradise is a total blueprint for failure. We have to throw all this old stuff out. We have to let go of the teachings of religion. We have to see that it's time to start swimming against the anti-ecstatic current that we're living in. Because as ecstatic beings, we become free thinkers, and the systems we live in are not interested in having ecstatic beings because, they want us to follow the rails and pay the taxes and do what we're told.
Yeah. But how about the new generations that are so free? The women are so free. They express this so much, and sometimes they a little bit go overboard, or it's at a very young age without having the whole understanding. So how do you find this right balance between freeing ourselves up but still honoring the goddess in ourselves?
That's a good point. We have a lady here in Paris who teaches groups, who was with us as a teacher for a long time. Her name is Vasanti, and she teaches groups for young people starting at 18 until 28. And I can give you another story that exemplifies my answer. One time I was riding in Woodacre, which is in Northern California, and there was a hitchhiker. So I decided to pick him up. So I pick him up, we close the door, we drive on. And after a while, he looks at me and says, "You're Margot Anand, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, how do you know?" And he says, "Well, when I was 15, my dad came to pick me up at school, and we ride away, and there's your voice on an audio tape playing in the car. And you were giving instructions on the art of sexual magic." And I was so interested that Dad lent me the tapes, and I listened to the whole series. And I was a virgin, but when I had my first girlfriend, I knew exactly what to do, thanks to you. So you have been in my heart ever since. And I thought, wow, what a nice story. So, people can get educated about the ways of communicating, the ways of being authentic, the ways of saying no when you need to say no, the ways of not just letting the most popular guy make love to you just because you want to be chosen for the prom. I mean, it's like you got to kind of re-examine your values here. And I think that's where parents, are important. Yeah. My mother helped me out. She's the first one who told me about all this.
And it seems to be a whole generation too that is very aware and very connected and wanting this connection too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's good. Yeah. We're waking up.
We're waking up. Is there anything else to say in this conversation? Of course, the topic is big, but the awakening, so sexuality as an awakening, right?
Yeah, I would say stop thinking that things in the art of sexuality and love are not available to you. That you don't have time, that you have too much work, that you're a single man or woman. Put those thoughts aside. Visualize on what it is you really want. Create your personal mantra. Mine was, I am an orgasmic woman, that allows me to continue to walk towards my success, towards my fulfillment. Okay? And then read my book because it's an inspiration. It's a fun series of stories. Every chapter happens in a different country with a different partner. And it's a different initiation. So once you've read that, and what I learned from it, you will be inspired to start to say, hey, there's more to sex than I thought. And I want to have that.
And there's more to Tantra than I thought.
Yeah, actually, Tantra is an awakening. And meditation is a part of it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Margot.
Yeah, thank you, Lilou. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And big kiss to all of you. Much love. Please share this video. Sending you much love from beautiful Paris.